And welcome back to a playthrough by That One Gamer. So I'm trying to figure out which game I wanted to do next, and after doing the last Star Wars one, I figured, well, why not keep the Star Wars theme since a new movie was coming out soon. Let's go with the Super Nintendo version of Super Star Wars, although Virtual Console years, but so there actually was an NES version of this one as well as Empire Strikes Back, but and they were going to make Return of the Jedi for the NES, but by then the Super Nintendo had come out, so and this is one of the most difficult but also fun games, I think, in the history of Star Wars video games. So I'm familiar myself with the controls here because I'm using a GameCube controller and not Super Nintendo controller. So let's get going. It starts with the familiar "A Long Time Ago" theme. But, I'm going to skip the little opening crawl there. Now, the game takes liberties from the movie to add more levels and bosses that you wouldn't from compared to what you see in the movie. So, like here, Luke is the one that will find C-3PO as opposed to getting it from the Jawas. Alright, so we got Scorpions, we got Minox. And those skulls there are from a crate dragon, is what they're called. That's what Obi-Wan was imitating back when Luke got knocked unconscious by the sand people in the movie. Yeah, hit a lot. Yeah. And these scorpions can apparently fire projectiles out of their tails. Yeah. Takes 3 blaster hits to take out these Minox. And up ahead on this first hill is a giant scorpion. But, well, so much for that. I was hoping to avoid him. Until I had enough health, but I guess can't help. Good thing for the slide feature, otherwise I would have been dead. Alright, so here, now we got some Womp Rats. This is what Luke says he could bullseye from his T-16 back home. But there is a unique secret here with these Womp Rats that I discovered by accident several years back. So basically go around here and destroy all these Womp Rats that they hop out. As if you destroy all of them, you get a nice little surprise. And I found it by accident because I was just trying to advance, but the Womp Rats just kept coming and coming and coming. I couldn't find any room to move forward. Then after about a minute or so of doing this, all of a sudden, the secret popped up for destroying all these things. I wasn't even aware there were a limited number of them. Just be patient and you'll see. There it is. Blast your power up in 2 big hearts. Now we got seeker missiles. Whoa, sandworms. I hate them, right? I hate them myself. Of course, these are not quite like the ones on Saturn, as he called it. Bonus points if you can guess who I'm talking about here, or that movie was from. So, when I was trying to estimate the power that each of these weapons does, I think the flame does 3 times the power of blaster, and the seeker, I think, does about close to double that of the flame. Maybe 5 times the amount of a blaster. Alright, so here's the boss. Or wait, yeah, up here's the boss, but I like to do this. Instead of going all the way in, just go far enough till it appears. And when you have the Seekers, aim at an angle so you can hit those boulders that he fires at you. That way it's easier for the missile to hit the boulders and then hit him. You'll notice this boss was originally from Return of the Jedi, the Sarlacc monster, the original version of it. Again, the game takes liberties to help add more action and bosses to the game. When he's right close to you, then you just fire direct at him. And there we go. Sarlacc pit monster destroyed. Yay! And here I discovered another trick on this next level. So there's C-3PO from the escape pod. Here it says R2 has been captured by Jawas. Apparently 3PO witnessed it. Here you don't even have to move forward, you can let all the enemies come to you. I think there can be like 3 or 4 enemies at once on this Mode 7 limitation. You can see the Sandcrawler literally coming closer, even though it's supposed to be going away from you. So we go back and forth, left and right. You can also go up and down without having to use any jet fuel. I initially had a lot of problems with this level because I was making the mistake of just going forward all the time, except I hardly ever used the jet fuel and always kept... If you hold up like this, you just fire into the ground, so... If you stay over those mud pits, you lose health. And you can see up there is a womp rat that's jumping up there. Oh, I got him. Oh, I got all the Jawas, so now I can just take off like this. Because this is Virtual Console, there's some slight errors with the sound effects. Like you can't hear the jets sound effects like you would from the Super Nintendo. You also can't hear the lightsaber when you swing it. And there's some sound effects that you don't hear during some cutscenes. Ooh, 2 times point damage, or bonus. Instead of getting 50 points, I'm getting 100 right now. I just love the sound those Jawas make when they get destroyed. The annoying thing about these Seeker missiles, as you'll see there, they're going after those blue projectiles. So sometimes the nearest enemy to them is something that they fire. Slow-moving projectile or grenades or something like that. Oh. Ooh, health sword. Health saber, it should be, but yeah. And there's the next blaster power-up, Rapid Ion. Now, this has the most rapid fire of any weapon in the game. I think it actually does a little bit less damage than a Seeker missile, but because it does fire so rapidly, it still is able to do more damage in the same amount of time than a Seeker missile. Ow, you suck. And you might have noticed that there's a couple different types of jumping. There's a normal jump, and then there's a big super jump where he somersaults. Very useful when you have a lightsaber. Which I won't get that for about another 4 or 5 levels. Well, not quite that many. There we go. I don't know if it's DD or TT or what they're saying. Okay, let's see. I think there's another big platform that'll come. Yep, there it is. Makes it easier to jump on than to go up there. Now here, use the L button. You can adjust the camera like that to make sure you can see the platform. You can go up, down, kind of like that to change your viewpoint. Oh, damn, this thing's hurts. go. Quite a few of these. You gotta watch out for the shrapnel that these things leave behind, because they will damage you. Okay, should be getting close. And here's another little... Oh, I was gonna... Here, try on this next one here. If you're far enough away, so it's just barely in the camera, the shrapnel will not appear, although you won't get any points for it either. And just before you enter this thing, shoot up here to get a 1-up and another blaster power-up. And here comes, in my opinion, the hardest level in the game. You want to get as many health swords as you can possibly get. Some of the enemies, like these Jawas, will respawn for a limited amount of time. So hopefully, every now and then, drop some health swords. Ooh, thermal detonator. And that's what that does. Has a slightly different shape than the one I saw Leia use in Return of the Jedi, but somehow Luke takes no damage from it, but oh well. Come on, get back up there. Oh, you guys don't regenerate? Come on, man! Oh, come on. There we go. I got a time bonus. Time bonus really does... You don't lose a health or a life if the time runs out. It just helps to get more points after you clear the level. 50,000 points, extra life, I believe. It wasn't 100,000. It was one of them. So those Jawas have disappeared. And there's another blaster, but I'm already at maximum power, so... You can adjust the camera angle to help make the enemies respawn sometimes. It's weird how those Jawa's guns make a blaster sound, but they don't make the blaster blasts don't look like the blasts you see from the movie. And if you can get multiple Darth Vader helmets, you can increase the point bonus. Here, you really don't want to take too much time because there's so many things shooting at you. See those flamethrower things? When its eye opens, it will not take damage. So really just... as far as you can, get the heart, and move on. And these spikes, I don't think you'll die if you jump on them, but you will take damage. And those things that you just saw only takes one plasma blast, so I want to say it does double the damage of a rapid ion. Maybe even a little bit more. Ooh, Jawas, one of your respawns. Nope, guess not. And these things you have to aim right in the center of that thing in order to damage it. And that can be really tough when you just have a blaster. Thankfully for plasma, oof, so you only take damage from it. Oof. Excuse me. There we go. And you noticed, because he was at the edge of the screen, the shrapnel did not appear, and it disappeared really quickly. A little glitch in the game there. Alright, now here's a secret in here. If you can get them just to the edge of this platform and double jump, or not double jump, but super jump across, there's a secret. Lots of power-ups, some health. And up here, a 1-up. So I think that was it. Yep, okay. And you want to get that, because right here is a checkpoint, and you will not be able to get that secret stuff up here. This is the checkpoint spot. Here you gotta use some tricky slide work to get across. You have to move up just close enough so the force field clears. And then, you suck. And then, move up, back, and slide across. Sometimes it takes a little practice to put that down. And you notice you have to also watch out for those ceiling blaster things. And there's a flamethrower thing here, and down here is a deadly enemy. With the plasma, it only takes about 3 or 4 shots, but if you happen to die, there we go. If you happen to die and you're just with the blaster, get it about around here and aim down, because the blaster will reflect off the ground and then into the enemy's weak spot. Here, duck here and then aim upwards. If you try to stand, I don't think you'll hit it. Same thing here. The pattern for those things is it'll fire one blast, like it'll fire middle, up, down, middle, up, middle, down, middle, up, middle, down. Although it could be a middle, down, middle, up, so it's kind of random, so you kind of have to guess where it's going to fire. You gotta carefully, you could instantly die from these things, so be careful with your sliding. You can also just take damage too. And here, there's another one of those hopper ceiling things. All you have to do is just stand here and fire diagonally. And here's a small mini-boss down here. I like to put little pot shots over here and start, and then go over here and just fire at them. Of course, if you have just a blaster, then it's going to be much harder and longer. Here, don't use super jumps, at least initially. Start with a regular jump, then do a super, and then do regular jumps here, and then on this falling platform, you have to hold to the right. Because otherwise, instant death if you hit the lava. And here, really be careful with the jump. Don't use a super jump here. And that thing could really F you up. I'm just taking normal jumps here to take out these things. And up here is the toughest boss in the game. So, it stays in one place and it fires those balls of fire that you saw just now out of its mouth in different speeds and different placements. It could go past you, it could go on the platform you're on, or not even hit the platform. And sometimes he'll stop firing and then firing again, but I never could figure out the pattern. So what I try to do at the start, I'll jump on the platform, take a couple pot shots, and then jump onto the main platform and just wail on them. It helps if you have enough health swords, but you have to be careful to stay on the platform you're on, otherwise you'll die. So let's see if I can do this. Boss you've never seen in the movie. Ooh, I lucked out. See that fireball there? Sometimes it'll appear behind you and knock you off. You want to carefully follow it onto the platform. Otherwise, you could... Plus, the camera sometimes freezes temporarily, so you have to be really careful on that. So, alright. You'll notice the sound effects here again. R2 doesn't go... The Virtual Console only makes like the first half. But I'm going to pause the video here for now, and then we'll continue on to the next part. So we'll see you all next time.